Okay, so this is something that I I read about recently in relation to Crash Team Rumble, and honestly, um, it kind of surprised me, but at the same time, it didn't because I don't know. The Crash Bandicoot series is not nearly as hot as it was back in the '90s, and even though Crash Bandicoot 4 from a few years ago was critically acclaimed, it got pretty good reviews. It didn't sell too well. And as far as Crash Team Rumble is concerned, it doesn't seem like this game is all that popular either because I actually read that as far as like the viewing is concerned for Crash Team Rumble, because it's supposed to be like an online four versus four type of game. It had like somewhere between 15 to 30 viewers between like Wednesday and now. And honestly, I think that's something that developers shouldn't be too shocked about. But at the same time, if I'm a publisher or I'm working as a developer for any company, I would expect to have at least 100 or a couple of hundred, at best, in terms of like viewing and interest in the game and all that stuff. But I mean, this got to be really devastating and disappointing because to spend all that time and effort and money into developing this expensive game and for no one to really not care is something that's it's just brutal. But at the same time, I feel like the Crash Bandicoot series is not one that people in general don't care about completely, and I'm hoping that this is not a sign as to what the fan base for Crash Bandicoot looks like in this day and age, because there was more eyes on Crash Bandicoot 4 before and after it came out, and obviously, there's still some interest within the franchise, but despite like the graphics and all that stuff looking better than ever, um, I do feel like the series may have seen its best days because let's be honest, the developer that they have right now is not as good as Naughty Dog, and maybe Activision is not quite as good of a publisher as Sony. But at the same time, the '90s was a completely different era, and that was back when 3D platform games was way more popular back then, and that's something that like too many franchises can't pull off nowadays in relation to genre other than like the Super Mario series. Um, and I think that there shouldn't be any more Crash Bandicoot spin-off games because I don't think the series is as popular as it once was. And I do feel like Activision should probably uh, focus on putting out more high-profile, um, main games in general because the main games, the main entries within the series are the things that normally attracts people's attention. Now, as far as a potential Crash Bandicoot 5 is concerned, they may want to wait a couple of years before they release that because when it comes down to video game franchises from decades ago or what have you, normally nostalgia plays a huge part in people wanting to buy a brand new game. So maybe that's something that can work in Activision's favor if they decide to put the Crash Bandicoot series on a hiatus um after like a year or so, maybe maybe I don't know, all it needs is just some time to kind of like cool down and for people to forget about it before they release another really big game. But is Crash Team Rumble considered a dud? um it seems like the proof is in the pudding, and it seemed like it's one of those deals where I don't think, making an online, multiplayer video game was such a great idea. But at the same time, I mean, if this was free to play, it probably would be a bigger attraction. But at the same time, they would probably have to add microtransactions to it to try and, make more money and all that stuff, which is something that a lot of people really don't like nowadays. So, it is what it is. And, Crash Team Rumble's only been out for like I don't think it's even been like 2 weeks yet, it hasn't even been out for a month. I mean, who knows? Maybe, more people could end up, viewing it over time. Um, but I do feel like, after this, there should definitely be no more Crash Bandicoot spin-off games anytime in the near future.